investment exclusively to Lagos, FCT, Abia, Ogun, Akwa Ibom, and Ekiti, while the remaining states reported zero capital importation. Specifically, Lagos received $308.83 million, FCT secured $194.66 million, Abia attracted $150.09 million, Ogun obtained $1 million, Akwa Ibom saw $65,000, and Ekiti recorded $12,750 in capital importation. Notably, Abia's $150.09 million in Q3 2023 marked the highest capital importation for the state since 2020, when it attracted $56.07 million. Away from Nigeria, Dubai's Roads and Transport Authority (RTA) has awarded a contract for a comprehensive street lighting project that will cover 40 districts and streets. As part of the broader street lighting plan 2023 to 2026, this initiative aims to upgrade the infrastructure of the road network facilities to align with Dubai's continuous development and address the demand of urban expansion and population growth. The Director General and Chairman of the Board of Executive Director of RTA, Mataz Al-Tayyar, noted that the primary objective of the plan is to enhance traffic safety and security for all road users, including vehicles and pedestrians. The plan employs the latest smart and sustainable lighting technology, utilizing energy-efficient LED technology to achieve a 55% reduction in energy consumption and a 173% increase in lifespan, thereby reducing maintenance and operational costs. We'll take a breather now and return with the rest of the news. Stay with us.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
Welcome back. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow us on all social media platforms at Souq News. Moving on in the news, in a bid to promote traffic awareness among bicycle users and the need to adhere to instructions, the Dubai's Federal Traffic Council has launched its inaugural Unified Traffic Campaign for 2024, focusing on the theme Safe Riding for Bicycle Users, aligned with the ministry's continuous commitment to cultivating responsible traffic culture among motorbike, electric and bicycle riders. The campaign aims to minimize wrongful behavior, uphold road users' rights and enhance overall safety standards. Chairman of the Federal Traffic Council, Brigadier Engineer Hussein Ahmed Al-Hariti, noted that the campaign, spanning the first quarter of 2024, involves collaboration with strategic partners, ministries, federal and local agencies, and various entities dedicated to traffic safety. In the Middle East, Somalia has firmly rejected an agreement between its breakaway region, Somaliland, and Ethiopia, which granted Ethiopia access to Red Sea via the major port of Berbera. Somalia, considering Somaliland part of its territory, declared the pact has no legal force and summoned its ambassador to Ethiopia for discussions on the matter. Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed emphasized that no one had the authority to relinquish part of Somalia, labeling the agreement an interference with sovereignty. Ethiopia's offer of a stake in Ethiopia's airline to Somaliland in exchange for Red Sea access adds complexities to the situation, with officials from both nations yet to comment. Still in the Middle East, oil prices surged over 2% in the initial New Year session, driven by concerns of potential disruptions in Middle East supply following the recent attack on a container ship in the Red Sea and optimistic expectations for Chinese demand. Brent crude climbed by $1.58 to $78.62. We'll go on a quick break and return with the rest of the news. Stay with us.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souq News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it, because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News, who had the courage to transcend a locked-off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. Away from the Middle East, the European Investment Bank has pledged 400 million euros to support a substantial new initiative by Mythlinus Energy and Metals.
My name is Dr. Agility Obi.
My name is Etemere Glover. Naomi.
Well done, and shout out to Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. I want to encourage everyone to keep watching Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News, and yes, tune into them.
Keep watching Souq News. They are one in town.
Hey, we're watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. Catch them on YouTube and all social media channels.
Hey, my name is Frank Edowo, and I'm imploring you. No, forget that. I am forcing you, coercing you to always stay tuned to Souq News for your news requirements.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
We apologize for that technical glitch right there. Away from the Middle East.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
My name is Dr. Ajili.
My name is Etemere Glover.
Naomi, well done, and shout out to Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. I want to encourage everyone to keep watching Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News, and yes, tune into them.
Keep watching Souq News. They are one in town.
Hey, we're watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. Catch them on YouTube and all social media channels.
Hey, my name is Frank Edowo, and I'm imploring you. No, forget that. I am forcing you, coercing you to always stay tuned to Souq News for your news requirements.
Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS. Tafawa Balewa Square was initially used as a horsing ground called Lagos Race Course. The edifice was constructed by General Yakubu Gowon in 1972 and named after Nigeria's first Prime Minister, Sir Tafawa Balewa. Tafawa Balewa Square is located at 45/57 Marse Bangboshe Street on Lagos Island, Lagos, and referred to as TBS. TBS is a 50,000-seater capacity venue and houses the Remembrance Arcade, the 26-story Independence House, which at a time was the country's tallest building. When Lagos served as the country's seat of government, the National Assembly Complex was within the TBS. Also in the square are the National Broadcasting Commission Office, the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency Office, shopping centers, travel agencies, restaurants, car parking lots, and a bus terminal. Tafawa Balewa Square is adorned with beautiful statues of white horses and red eagles, symbols of strength and dignity. Our historic neighbors include the King's College and the Holy Cross Cathedral. Tafawa Balewa Square hosted some of the country's memorable events, such as the Independence Day in 1960, when Nigeria gained independence from Britain, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which is celebrated annually on January 15. The edifice is a national cultural asset. Tafawa Balewa Square, Souq Enlightenment. Morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruoje, and Ida Hosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very ideal and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, thank you, Adesua Mr. for updating us on current happenings around the globe. Very interesting news this morning, and we'll begin with some of the very interesting stories. But first, I need to introduce the gentlemen in the studio. You know them. You've seen them several times, but you haven't seen this version of them because it's a new day, and so the newest version of Idausa Osamaze I unveil to you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Blessing.
Great to have you this morning.
My pleasure here always.
They say don't ask how was your night, but you can ask how was your rest. So how was your rest?
Well, both night and rest, they're the same.
You know, in this part of the world, we are that caring, so we'd like to know. Good morning, Femi.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine. I see you now have a memo you share together.
No, we have a secret camera. So which,
men talk to men and men understand.
Exactly. It's becoming men's word now.
Don't worry. I will get a lady and bring her here, maybe tomorrow.
Yes.
So we need to balance up. Gender equality.
Oh yes.
In 2024.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you're covered.
Okay. I believe you.
We're inclusive.
Okay, I believe you when you say that.
Yeah.
All right. So, like I said, interesting things have happened, and this is a new year. One would expect that things are starting slow, but they're not starting slow at all, particularly for the education sector, as the federal government has suspended accreditation of degrees from Benin Republic and Togo. According to the press release that was signed by Augustina Obiloduru on behalf of the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Federal Ministry of Education, the suspension will persist until the conclusion of an investigation involving the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Education and the Department of State Security Services and the National Youth Service Corps. Now, the reason for the suspension is that there are concerns about Nigerians utilizing dishonest means to obtain degrees for job opportunities they are not qualified for. Now, Nigerians love to travel. They also go for different reasons. It is not just the UK, US. Some Nigerians want to study in as far as close as neighboring countries, Benin Republic, Togo, Ghana. You have Nigerians studying there. So this concern about some Nigerians obtaining by dishonest means certificates for jobs has led to this suspension. It also.
Well, it's amusing that we're just seeming to realize this very terrible situation that has been on forever. It's not just starting, it has been there for quite a long time, except that we are not honest with ourselves. I remember when I was in school, one of our own lecturer who said he got a degree from University of Kiev. They had to go to write to school several times to be able to justify that degree. I know when a school administrator was sent to the school, the man has to disappear somehow. So this trend has been out there that people have been shopping for certificate. How did we get here? I think that's the real question that we need to ask ourselves. Because we're living in a climate where everybody is talking about paper qualifications, certificate, certificate, certificate. And people are not looking at what people can do. And this is the real situations that face us. In 2021, I was in a seminar teaching somewhere in Ikeja here at Sheraton Hotel. And we were having this conversation about the quality of education. And one man who was from NYSC said, look, he said it's even more worrisome for them at NYSC, and that was in 2021, that they got somebody who was an Achaba driver who came for clearance at NYSC to say that he wanted to sign up for NYSC. And so they needed to interrogate him and say, why this credential you bring, they are not authentic. And the young man said the agent that brought it said that it was genuine and authentic. So the agent that brought the certificate said the certificate was authentic. So this is the level to which we have gotten because of emphasis on certificates and paper qualification without a corresponding skill or ability to do in the person who is presenting the qualification. We're having graduates, even not from the outside, even graduates that are produced from our schools who cannot construct 2 lines of sentences. So it's not just about the Republic, because since it was okay, well, all you need is just to have the qualification, then anybody can pay for it, you get it. So apart from the fact that they are shopping it offshore now, there's also the inshore, because there are some shopping here that's also happening. And these are the real problem which we face, and looking into the future, where people feel that hard work don't pay anymore, and if you can get it by all means, and of course nobody is going to check what you're actually doing, this is it's a real big mess we are into as a country. I remember also in 2017, I was in ASCON, and we were giving a lecture, and I was also talking about this same situation, because it had worried me for a very long time that within even our system, and you're seeing that people who are supposed to be very intelligent don't pass, and the people who are not intelligent are the ones that are coming out with good grades. Because the sorting system, the sleeping system that has been in the tertiary institution has driven us such to that extent. And I remember then a deputy director in CBN was telling me, and he said, look, it's worrisome now because you even have people in the middle cadre in the civil service who cannot write simple memo. When you write, you have to rewrite it. Now, it's school that is producing these people. And this is where we really need to sanitize our education system. If we want to grow as a people, if we want to develop like we are saying on a daily basis, then of course there must be a complete overhaul. And this is a real issue. I don't think that this search can really lead to anywhere, because how many are you going to check? Is it you're going to go confirm from the university that is offering the degree? Because it's economy for them. You get a certificate, you pay, and then of course they are making money. And this is where we have found ourselves. And I think it's quite really very, very pathetic for us as a country that we can go to this extent, where people can actually use their hand to work and earn a living without necessarily carrying certificate. Now this again speaks to what the Protestant ethics alluded to, which is the dignity of labor. Because if you see the comment here is the fact that people want to look good to do work. So if I'm a mechanic and I don't need to be dirty, so when we dignify every form of labor, people don't necessarily need to have to go to this length of buying certificate so to just get employment. And I think this is where we need to emphasize. Let government start to talk about skills, what we can do with our hand. There are certain clients today, when you are applying for a job, nobody asks you what class of degree you have or what paper qualification you have. The first thing is that they ask you, what can you do? So if you say this is what I can do, then they give you the system to do. If you can't do it, you have lost the job, no matter what qualification you bring. So it's only at the point of documentation, people are asking you, which school did you attend, what have you done? But first and foremost is the skill that you possess that should give you the source of livelihood. It's pathetic, it's pitiable, but that's where we are.
This is a multifaceted issue. Now, my concern really is what is leading or what has led to people going as far as or as close as, because if you can travel to the UK, as close as Benin Republic. Don't you worry? Is it about the standard of education? Is it about ASU going on strike regularly that has made people say, okay, I do not want my educational journey to be interrupted? Femi, what is your take on this?
I don't think that is the issue. If you look at this story in particular, it talks about the shady deals or the suspected racketeering going on about this issue of certificate. And I think this issue has been going on for years. But this particular story became public knowledge because of the investigative report done by a particular reporter of a particular platform who went to that university. And there's what we call participatory observation. When you're doing investigative reporting, you turn yourself to a victim whereby you participate in the activity in order to gather some facts. So that was exactly what this reporter did. He went to that university, and within 6 weeks, he was able to get the certificate for that university. So that's why this story became public knowledge, and then, federal government had to investigate to see what is going on. So it's something that's been going on for years, not just this particular university, but this particular university is of interest because people feel within weeks you can get degrees or certificates. And so if something you ought to get within 4 or 6 years, and you can buy your way in, within few weeks you get it, people always go that route, and that's exactly why you have more attention on this kind of saga that's been going on. But this points attention to the fact that the kind of systemic problem we have when it comes to the issue of education, the kind of society we find ourselves, where people prefer to cut corners. They won't want to do the actual thing or what is expected according to standard for them to obtain the particular degree. And that's why when you see this kind of situation, when you offer them jobs, when they get on the job, they can't perform, they can't do actually what is expected because they have to do shady deals or go through the back corner to get this degree, and that's why they can't defend it. You have people who have BSc, who have masters, or even PhD, and then you're wondering, how did this person get this kind of qualification? So there's a difference between their qualification and then the performance in reality, which is where Dr. talked about the issue of skills. And it happens a lot because the emphasis in our society is your paper qualification. If I tell you I have PhD now, like doctor now, the kind of prestige or respect you have. And so people want to do everything to get that kind of degree, He got his own honorably, and that's the way it should be. But when you know that there's a particular place you can visit and get it back though within shorter period, people will go there. But I'm happy investigation is ongoing because it's looking like a racketeering, not just between that university. Some government officials are also suspected to be involved. Even some officials of NYC are also suspected to be involved. So the investigation is being widened to ensure that those is like a cartel. Or
I don't think government officials are involved. Now you have agents of these universities in Nigeria. Some of them are in Lagos here. Who are marketing. In this office, I have gotten a proposal from somebody who came to me and said, that they are doing education for people. And I said, where? He said, Benin Republic. I said, when there's university in Nigeria here, you want me to sponsor somebody to go to Benin Republic? How can it be done? It's not possible. The proposal is still on my table. They say, they are raising fund to move people. So you have those agents who are local here, representing the universities in Nigeria, because they know that many Nigerians are writing JAM and they are not qualified, and so it is easy for them to actually get into this place. That's why I'm saying to you, the NYC guy told us in that conference, and he said, look, he said they call it the total package. As at that time, that they have a total package where they will give you school start, primary school, they will give you university complete in one bus, and then they give you. So that's why that Achaba man or the Okada man said that look, this thing, the agent who brought it said that the thing was genuine. And he was very honest about it. He said the agent said it was genuine.
Because he felt it was normal.
Yes, normal, because that's what they were doing, because you have those people who are here. Now, we should even be, because NYC has discovered this, because in 2021, they also suspended mobilizing students from Benin, Niger, Cameroon, from going into NYC because of this. So, what you have here is that what I'm saying in essence is not just about Benin Republic. We have had Toronto certificate saga here. Have we? And that is at the beginning of this dispensation. That's over 16, 20 years ago. So this thing has been ongoing. And again, this speaks to the problem we have with quality control. The regulatory agencies who are supposed to be, validating some of these documents are not doing their due diligence also. And this is why when they bring this thing in, we just take it. Because naturally, what do? NYC have a portal, you upload your document. And once you upload your document, they say you have graduated, you just get in and you have these issues. Now, this is the real issue that we have to face. But what is responsible for all of this is what my mind is actually on this morning. And the fact that we are over concentrating on certificate. Beautiful CV, well written in the paper, but not in the head. So this is the issue that we have to deal with as a people. So how do we begin to emphasize that the ability of people really who are going to school to do something? Even in the local state university here, I remember in 2016, I visited my alma mater and we were sitting down and DSS were over the place. And they had this young man who read geography and regional planning from a particular university and was mobilized into NYC. And his story was told that this guy couldn't write or fill a form at NYC. And then the NYC were really worried. The state director had to call the vice chancellor of that university and ask, and they said, we have a case here. There's a young man who graduated from your school, geography and regional planning. This person cannot even write an application. We want to know how this guy graduated. And they said, okay, check the records. They went to examine the record. The records were there. The records were there. DSS were involved in this particular case, I'm telling you. The school, they came. Because even the vice chancellor, she's late now, God bless her soul. She was saying, look, she cannot imagine how it happened. Because number one, it was not one lecturer that taught this guy. It was not one department, because there are, of course, interdepartmental courses that he wrote. How did he come out with a second-class lower division from the university and pass all the courses and went to NYSC and yet could not write? So this is the dilemma that faces us. So we're not just looking at what is happening in Benin Republic or what is happening in Togo. It's to say the quality of education, even in Nigeria, is something that is questionable. And the Minister of Education should be interested in seeing how people obtain degrees in our climb. And that for me is what it is.
Well, we do hope that this investigation this time around will be holistic, not just for some time, but I actually pity those who will be caught in the web, those who actually went to school, maybe in Togo or in Benin Republic, and went through the process, got their certificate legitimately, who will not maybe be mobilized until this investigation is over. And then the stigma attached to certificates from those countries, when you present some certificate and say, I studied in that country, people look at you and like, are you sure you didn't shop for this? Something like that. Well, so I hope it's holistic and it comes around.
I think they should also widen it to cover some PhDs and professors.
Okay.
Because I don't think that this packaging is just for BSc alone. It's even up to that level.
You mentioned there's a total package now.
Yes, so a complete
also
package.
Extend to that. Very look shocked at that.
No, it's not surprising. It also boils down to the fact that maybe lack of integrity. You have people who prefer to fail honorably than, take the shortcut. And I think that's what we should imbibe as a society, that value that, okay, even if you have reasons to write your JAMB or to sit again, yes, do it. ensure that you have it in a legitimate way, not just cutting corners because you want to have your degrees. Because in the long run, it will be obvious that actually that you cut corners.
You see, until we get to that point as a country where we recognize that the degree or certificates are only a means to an end and not an end in itself, we will continue to go around this route. What is important to people is that you have a degree so I can get a job. Now, if you learn a skill, you don't necessarily need to be shopping for a degree. And I think this is what we need to do. The overemphasis in public space for paper qualification should be discouraged. And I think that's the point. And that will be the starting point, really. Because we can do all the investigation in the whole world, and at the end of the day, it will really amount to nothing because we have not actually, we will not be able to solve the problem in total because there are so many. Some are in Ghana, not just here. I see some young people who say, oh, they couldn't get admission in Nigeria, but they have been admitted to study medicine in Ghana. And these are issues, and for me, it's quite worrisome.
And then some parents even believe that maybe the standard of education there is better because you don't hear frequent strikes by the academic body, so they just want their children to study. So I think that's part of it too. If this year so far, from what happened last year and the assurance and the communication between the federal government and us, we hope that all through this year we don't get to hear of any industrial action by the academic body. If this continues over time, it will to a great extent discourage those who feel like, let me study in a neighboring country. Because yes, apart from the ASU strike and some of the issues that we have in tertiary institutions, I know that we have standard institutions in Nigeria.
Oh yeah, oh yes.
All right, the next story is talking about the automation of Nigerian passport. You know, according to the Minister of Interior, Olubimi Ojo, he said they've initiated the process for that to start online. So it's going to kick off January 8th. So what that means is, before now, you usually have to visit the passport office to get your passport. You know, this has been leading to a lot of inefficiency, you know, wasted time and energy, bottleneck, and even leading to racketeering where you still have to, you know, tip your way before you get things done. But the minister is saying this time around, we want to deploy technology to the issue of passport application. So what that means is to be easier for Nigerians. At the comfort of your home, you can apply for Nigerian passport. All you just have to do is with your smartphone and with your internet, you go on the website, you supply the necessary information, and you maybe in a number of days or weeks, you get your passport for you. You know, Idauza, what do you think about that? That sounds like what you've been advocating.
Yeah, automation is great for government services, and I think it's the right thing to do. But I think this process has been on for a while because in the last 2 years, really, the NIS portal has always been open, immigration, where you can actually apply and upload your documents for your passport. And some people tried it and it did work, depending on which location that you want to do your capture. Yeah, but what was worrisome about that process was the fact that having gone online to apply for your passport, you still need to get to passport office to print out because they have to open a file for you at the passport office for your capture and things like that. But one is hoping that with this new development, that process, of course, will no longer be there, that people can actually, it can be completely automated, such that when people apply online, they don't need to be visiting the passport office. They are alerted automatically via the means of communication that they are put on the registration portal that, oh, your capture is 1 p.m., 11 p.m., based on the facility that's available. Then that reduces the number of pressure that people go to. Because really what you see is that some people who also have applied online before and they get to the passport office and they have given a date and they get there and the date is not available. So they're asking them, okay, come and KYC your documents, you put everything in order again. They fill a file for you and fill a form from you, which of course was a duplication. So I do hope that we can actually, like it's done in other places. I was talking to a friend in Rwanda and he was asking me, how long does it take you to get a driver's license or a international passport? And he said in 24 hours, if you register it today, then by the same time, they call you for a capture. And I think we can get to that level where systems are allowed to determine, because you find that there's also a lot of racketeering that is going on by agents.
Even touts.
Well, let's not call them touts.
The touting around the passport.
Yes, office, because they are making so much money.
Yeah.
And you are doing 32 pages and it's supposed to be 25,000, which is official, and they charge you 40,000. Because they have to help you facilitate the process. So once we automate it, all these processes will be reduced. But of course, now there's some hunger for these agents because some people livelihood actually depend on it also.
No, the point is we need to get it right as a nation.
Yeah.
If it means some people wouldn't be happy with this, yes, let it be, because the right thing to do. You can't reach away the fact that technology makes things easier and efficient. Now, if you visit the passport office, the level of congestion you see in that place, you imagine if there's a crusade or a revival somewhere, because everybody is trooping to that office to get one thing or the other. But if this is automated, it makes it easier. If it's not fully automated, yes, we can give them understanding that it's a matter of time. If they start this way, it's a good way to start. I'm hoping it can be fully automated. Yeah. Because what it means now is part of the processing that should have been done at the office, it reduces human interface. And what that means is it saves time. Then you can plan for other things. Then everything becomes more organized. If you're supposed to visit the office, you're given a particular time and a particular day. So what it means is coming to that place, you're going to spend lesser time to get whatever you need to get. But I'm hoping that even with the issue of data capturing, that can be done online. But I don't know if that can be done on the website. But that will still take you to the office. But what that means is it simplifies the process. And the human interface is reduced. And as a result, corruption it's also reduced. Yeah,
but for me, really, I don't think that crowd will be necessary if we have the right technology for printing. The real problem is printing. And I think that's where the minister needs to actually focus on. That the booklets are available. And we don't need to go to overseas to print these booklets. No matter what security features we have on it.
That's another conversation.
How are we going to mobilize and empower the printing and minting company of Nigeria to actually print passport for us? So that if people are applying, within 1 week,
they should get their passports.
The booklet should be available. Because it is the absence of the booklet that is creating the crowd, that is creating the opportunity for rent seeking. That's the problem. Because if you stay and capture, and they say, oh, in 1 week your passport will be ready, and in 1 week you go back and pick your passport, nobody will want to bribe. But now, once you do all this process, you will still need to queue to be able to access or get your passport. So this is the issue. And I think that's where the real emphasis needs to be. How do we print this passport locally? And then we are able that whatever contract people have to go and print this passport and bring it from overseas, we should not be shopping money. We are talking about foreign exchange scarcity. And we are still doing things that we can do at home, as simple as printing booklet. People in Shomolu here can do that if printing company cannot do it. So I don't see anything that is too fantastic about the document or the passport that we cannot print locally. And that also saves us foreign exchange. Because if you look at the volume of people who are here printing, who are applying for passports on a daily basis, that's enough money for us as a country.
It's possible for us to print locally. It's just because over the time, the assumption that if it is printed locally, then compromise is high. But compromise can happen elsewhere because it is still Nigerians who will oversee the process, whether it's done here or not. So it's about you having people of integrity, having company of integrity to handle it. So that will make it easier and faster. You can even have another company added to the printing and meat company of Nigeria, so that we know that we have two companies that are certified to handle the printing of passports, because it's almost like you're seeking for visa to a country when you're applying for passport. It takes quite a lot, and with the automation, I hope it's truly automated, not that some part of it is automated. You still go over to repeat the process, and there's paper documentation and everything all over again. It has to be a matter of who you know, how much you can spend before you can get your passport on time. These are the issues.
Maybe Femi should go and do the undercover.
Oh yes,
Yes, I would love to do it.
But they've seen your face already, so you're looking at you.
There are ways to go about that kind of investigative reporting that you don't have to be.
But we actually hope that some changes do happen quickly regarding the issue of international passports. Let's get to the Middle East right now, where oil prices are reported to have surged over 2% in the initial New Year session. Now, this was driven by concerns of potential disruptions in Middle East supply following the recent attack on a container ship in the Red Sea and optimistic expectations for Chinese demand. So currently, Brent crude has climbed by $1.58 to $78.62 per barrel.
Yeah, we've said this before the year came. It is the law of demand and supply, and you're going to have that. And that's exactly also we said yesterday when, of course, we're talking about the benchmarking of the budget against the oil price. Now, what you find here is that the world is so interconnected that whatever is happening in one area affects the other place. And this alert has been coming, that even the shipping companies have been wary of whether it's the Panama Canal or the Suez Canal, because terrorists also are drawn into the waters.
Pirates.
Yeah. So this is the issue. So there have been attacks, and shipping will become a problem. And this is what they talk about logistics in supply chain management, that if you have disruption at one end, the risk is shared. And this is what we're seeing. And we don't know how long this is going to be. But I also think that United Nations really need to think about how to address this issue, because it's worrisome. And if it is to mobilize the Universal Navy to guide the waters so that we can be free a little bit from the challenge that is caused by these attacks, because it's one out too many. And this is going to affect a whole lot of people. It's not just people in the it will also affect us. Just imagine that we are also duly deregulated now, as it were, and the market price will determine the cost of petrol. It will affect us here, and it's going to be global.
So and it's a gain in one hand and a loss in the
other.
other.
In another hand. So this is what it is that the problem of terrorism, naturally, for me, is so worrisome. And this is the failure of society, honestly speaking. And I think that even the American championing for freedom is going too, for me, too far in terms of how we conceive democracy today. That there's a need for us to be able to control and reinvent the culture of discipline that can form from home. Because what you're seeing today is that you're having a world where you are having too many rebellious people. And this rebellion is a function of the excess freedom that the society is advocating for children growing up. And you know, when we were growing up, there was so much discipline. There are things you couldn't do or contemplate. And those are the values that got into us. When you see your school teacher coming, you will run. But today you're having children beating their teachers. And this is what is going into the society, because we are having a culture that teacher can't flog students. So we can't discipline them. And children naturally, even like the Holy Scripture says, foolishness is what is in the heart of a child. It is only the rod of correction that takes it away. And until we begin to do these issues, a lot is going to happen, because this is where we are. And we are trying to put, I was talking with my CEO last night, and we're looking at the issue of the suspension of Niger Republic and Uganda from AGOA by Biden. And what is the reason? The reason is that, because in Uganda there is anti-lesbian law or homosexual law in Uganda, therefore they cannot benefit from America. And then, of course, they said there is a coup in Benin Republic. And I said, what morality is American champion here? Really? They have not seen the immoral act of France on Benin, raping them up for ages. That didn't worry America. It's the coup that is worrying them. What has the liberalization of homosexuality done to any country in the world? And I asked myself yesterday, and I sat down and I'm looking. Since I was studying political science in university, we'll be talking about AGOA. Who has it really helped? What growth have we seen in Africa? And I said, this is the right time for Africa really to sit up and determine their fate, because this is what is actually the breeding ground for terrorism. And this is what we're talking about here. Now, when you are seeing that the whole world is spending so much in defense and security, because almost everybody is becoming a terrorist somehow. So the world must find a way and a solution to this issue, because that's where we are. Otherwise, we're in a state of mutual assured destruction.
Well, is it just about the too much freedom or liberty given to the younger generation? Because terrorism seems to encompass different aspects. You have those who go into it for religious reasons. You have those who are disgruntled with the government of the day. You have those who are elderly, who are rich in the society funding it.
Yeah, of course. A lot of people go into it as a result of different reasons, like you said. But you see, what's the greatest driver for crime really now, today? Is really not the fact that people are defending one religion. Because some people just want to prove a point. And that is what it is. So when you have people, I was telling somebody recently, I said, if I look at the time I left the university up to now, and I knew that when I was in the university, my mother was scared because of the level of killing that was happening in my university at that time. Secret courtesan. Now you imagine that university in the last 30 years have been breeding people who are used to carrying gun. This is the situation that we all face. And these are children that are raised from homes. We are disciplined. This is the point I'm making. So you are looking at it that you can imagine. They said in Echo Shudi yesterday, about 30 people were killed. The fight between Eye and Black Ass. Now taken to Motor Park, not even in the university anymore. You see, these are issues that we have to deal with, because they are moral crisis that faces us. And I feel that the reason why children are this delinquent is because we say, we can't correct them. They are right by themselves. And that's why the world is where it is today. And I feel that we must look at these issues because they are interconnected. Look at what Nigeria is spending on defense and security. Look at what crisis this is creating for the entire world. That they are seeing terrorists coming from Iran, blocking the Suez Canal, and then, of course, is impacting the entire world in terms of disruption in the logistics system. This is the point.
All right, this is where we call it a wrap on news analysis today. This is as much as we can take because of time factor. We need to go into other issues. Thank you very much, Delsa Osamaze, for making it very hot here today. And I hope that the heat gets to the right quarters and change begins to happen.
We hope so, really, that the world is safe for all of us. And it will be a better world for all of us.
I think the message is that do not think that because it's not happening in your end today, it won't get there. So we need to do our own parts to ensure that we say the right things, we'll culture or raise people in the right culture so that the world can be safe for every one of us to live in. And thank you, Femi.
Providing the right compliment.
Of course, you like that. Let's go to break, and it's time for us to look at what the economy holds for Nigeria in 2024.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godi Odidi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
My name is Dr. Ajili.
My name is Etemere Glover.
Naomi, well done, and shout out to Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. I want to encourage everyone to keep watching Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News, and yes, tune into them.
Keep watching Souq News. They are one in town.
Hey, we're watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. Catch them on YouTube and all social media channels.
Hey, my name is Frank Edowo, and I'm imploring you. No, forget that. I am forcing you, coercing you to always stay tuned to Souq News for your news requirements.
Lateef Jakande. Born Lateef Kayode Jakande in the Ekpetedo area of Lagos Island, Lagos State on July 1929. He studied at the Lagos Public School at Enuowa, Lagos Island, then at Bonham Memorial Methodist School, Port Harcourt, King's College, enrolled at Ilesha Grammar School, where he edited a literary paper called The Quarterly Mirror. Jakande began a career in journalism in 1949 with a daily service and joined the Nigerian Tribune in 1953. The owner, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, appointed Jakande editor-in-chief of the Tribune in 1956. Jakande established John West Publications in 1975 after leaving Tribune and began to publish the Lagos News. He served as the first president of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, NPAN. Jakande ran for election as executive governor of Lagos State in 1979 on the Unity Party of Nigeria platform. His administration was effective and open and implemented the cardinal policies of his party. He introduced housing and educational programs targeting the poor, building new neighborhood primary and secondary schools, and providing free primary and secondary education. He gave poor people's children education, and many of them are now very prominent in the society today. Jakande established the Lagos State University and constructed over 30,000 housing units. After the military takeover in 1983, Jakande was charged, prosecuted, and convicted of treason and later pardoned. He served as Minister of Works under the Sani Abacha military regime. He died in Lagos on February 11, 2021. Lateef Jakande was the first civilian governor of Lagos State. Lateef Kayode Jakande, Souq Enlightenment. morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, glad you have you back. Glad to know that you're still there with us. Don't mind me, I'm just excited that, we have a new look, and that's always about Early Exchange. We always get bigger and better. We're about looking at the financial outlook for the year 2024. It's the beginning of a new year, the dawn of a new era, and the Nigerians and Africans are looking forward to what the year is going to look like. I want to set the pace by giving you an idea of what the financial sector will look like, some of the financial investments you need to take advantage of in this year. And so shortly we'll be speaking with our guests who will be giving us tips, some of the trends in the financial market, some of the opportunities you can take advantage of as an individual to maximize gains. Don't forget, this is your program. It means you can be part of this conversation by joining us on our YouTube platform, on our social media platform, to share your view on some of the financial opportunities that will be available in the year 2024. To shed more light on this, we're being joined by Andrew Ogbe, who is a financial analyst. He joins us virtually. Andrew, glad to have you join us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. It's nice to be here again. Such an honor to be with you this morning.
Yes, always a pleasure to host you on Early Exchange. So let's start with the financial investment in the year 2024. It's the beginning of a new year. Give us an idea of some of the trends in the financial sector and some of the opportunities that are available as the year, it starts unfolding, that Africans or Nigerians need to take advantage of in the financial market. Let's start with that.
Okay, thank you for having me here once again. Now, with regards to financial investments in the year 2024, I'd like to first of all focus on digital investment, digital assets, which is one of the areas I major in. Now, 2024 is an interesting year because in the aspect of digital assets, a very interesting year because we are anticipating what is called the bull market, okay, in the digital space. Now, otherwise called cryptocurrencies. Now, in 2024, we are most likely going to experience the bull market. Now, in this space, every 4 years, right, because of a phenomenon known as the Bitcoin halving, like cryptocurrencies experience what is called the bull market. And the bull market is simply when prices spike. So a lot of people, the assets they own are going to grow in value and they're going to make a lot of money from it, right? So this is an interesting period. Those who have been able to take advantage of financial opportunities in the digital space might see massive returns, even though, yes, there are risks, but there might be massive gains for people who have positioned themselves earlier enough to benefit from the digital space.
All right, Andrew, Happy New Year.
Yeah, same here. Nice to meet you again. Nice to be here.
And we're glad to see your face this year. The reason Femi was excited when he was introducing the topic is because we're about to talk about money. And so, money makes anyone smile. All right, looking at investments in this year, digital assets you just talked about, it's not something that everyone is knowledgeable about, and so some persons are weary, particularly when you talk about crypto. Now, how has it been over the past year, that's 2023, and moving into 2024, the acceptance, the willingness to make investments in digital assets? In your assessment, how has it been in Nigeria? Has it grown? Are people now comfortable putting their money in some digital assets?
Okay, globally speaking, Nigeria is not doing badly with regards to adoption, acceptance, and adoption of cryptocurrency because we stand to be the second largest nation in the world that has adopted cryptocurrency. I think that's after India. So if you talk about globally, we are not doing so badly. We're third before on the list, but right now Nigeria is second on the list. So which means adoption and awareness is growing. And with regards to the recent developments, the recent CBN regulation and the CBN lifting of the ban on commercial banks operating accounts for virtual asset service providers, I think more Nigerians are becoming more aware, and media presence like this and having sessions like this is also creating more awareness. So I would say that Nigerians are becoming more and more comfortable, even though we have also a large population that is still not aware and are still not comfortable with digital assets, right? Which I understand, but so far so good. We are not doing so badly. With when a statistic was done in comparison with the internet, right, the adoption of the internet. Now, where we are presently with regards to digital assets is in 1999, when the internet also how the internet in the adoption of the internet. It means the population that has adopted or that is aware of cryptocurrency right now in Nigeria is the same as the population that were aware of the internet and adopted the internet as of 1999. So you see, we are still far behind, but we are not doing so badly. A few years from now, the whole trend might spike.
All right, talking about the Nigerian space, what do you think is largely responsible for the growing interest in cryptocurrencies? Like you mentioned the issue of internet. It's not just now, but in recent times, in the last few years, you have this growing interest in cryptocurrencies. What do you think is largely responsible for this, and what will be the impact of this on that market?
Okay, with regards to Nigeria, I think one of the reasons why the growing interest for Nigerians is we have a very large and a vibrant youth population, right? And these things are more acceptable. Technology generally is more acceptable amongst young people before the older ones get to eventually just probably fall in line or stay with what they've known. Now, since Nigeria will have a very large population, of course, we are seeing that. And also, in Nigeria, people are considering alternative ways of making money, right? The traditional way of making money, it's not providing it's not meeting the necessary demands in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we have a very large population and mostly no jobs for this population. So people tend to look for other means to earn sustainable income, right? So that is why we see the growing population moving towards cryptocurrencies. And globally also, you see globally the trend, and also apart from the fact that we have a young population, the period, like I spoke earlier, like I said earlier, that we are in the cryptocurrency space, right? Where we are anticipating what is called the bull market, right? A lot of people are interested. This period, you begin to see a lot of things about cryptocurrency, a lot of ads, a lot of conversation around cryptocurrency because of the bull market. So this gets a lot of other people who were not interested before to become interested and begin to pay attention to this. So these are some of the reasons why we have an increasing participation. And also we've seen multinationals, right, coming into cryptocurrencies. For example, there's a particular bank in the US that has been buying Bitcoin, I think for the past few months now, every single day, $4 million worth of Bitcoin every single day. So with this participation of this industry players, it gives new investors more confidence in the system. So that is why we are seeing what we are seeing today. And I think it's just going to continue that way.
All right, so, but cryptocurrencies are still seen as volatile and highly speculative. But there are some, like you just talked about, that are doing quite well. And you say that 2024 seemed like it's going to be a bullish run for the crypto markets. Can you point us in the direction of some cryptos that are doing quite well? And one can say it will be a good investment.
Okay. Endeavor to do your own research. That's what we always say in the cryptocurrency space. And we always say that whatever we say is not financial advice, right? Endeavor to do your own research. It's something we always say in this space. Now, but with regards to cryptocurrencies that are doing well, now there are several cryptocurrencies that have been predicted to do very well in this bull run. We have Bitcoin, we have Ethereum. Even though Bitcoin, it's going to do very well, but may not be a very viable investment for someone who is just starting out and doesn't have access to funds, right? So, but we have other cryptocurrencies that are still they are not as expensive as Bitcoin. They are called altcoins, but are also predicted to do well. But what I'm going to state is what Nigerians should look out for, right? Not just the specific cryptocurrencies, okay? Because you cannot absolutely or 100%, 100% tell the particular cryptocurrency that is going to spike in value or the percentage is going to do it. But there's a few of them that are doing well right now. Ethereum, Binance, they are doing very well. Solana, those coins are doing very well. But I rather speak on things to look out for, right, when investing in cryptocurrencies. There are three key things I think people should look out for, Nigerians should look out for. I think number one will be the utility of the cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrencies don't just spike in value. It's because they solve real life problems and people use them to solve those problems, right? The technology solve those problems. Now look at the utility of the project and look at cryptocurrencies that solves problems in the area or that create solutions in the area of AI, as artificial intelligence, in the area of metaverse, NFTs, and the rest, right? Cryptocurrencies, because these are emerging technologies. This is technology that is a lot of people are talking about. AI is going to take center stage in the next decade. So cryptocurrencies that provide solutions in this area might be a profitable investment. In metaverse also, metaverse is revolutionizing how social interaction. So all these things, look in those areas. So I don't want to mention just specific projects, right? Because like we always say, whatever we say is not financial advice. So, but if you follow these things, strong utility, looking at the strong utility, that's number one. Then number two, if you look at the community behind the project, do they have a vibrant and a growing population, a growing community for that particular project? Because one of the things that leads to the growth in value of cryptocurrencies is that we have more people adopting it, and cryptocurrencies are steady in supply. In fact, they even go down in supply, right? So because of a constant supply, if demand goes up, right, the price will go up also. So if the utility is stronger and there's a vibrant and a growing community, and how do you check for a vibrant and a growing community? Check their social media, right? What other people, what the participants in the project are saying about it. If more people are talking about a particular project or going into a particular project, if a significant number of people are talking about it, it means there's something the project is doing that probably you're not seeing yet. So look at their community, check their social, their Telegram, check their Twitter, check their Discord, Instagram, check their YouTube, check these things, right, and see what people are saying about the project, right? Then thirdly, look at the team behind the project, research the team behind the project. Do they have a visionary team, right? What is their roadmap For example, if I talk about Ethereum, what is the developer of Ethereum? What does he want to achieve in the next 3, 4, 5 years? Right? Where is he taking the project to? Does he align with where the world is going to? So when I look at these things, I can, to a large extent, tell if a particular cryptocurrency is a viable investment. So I talked about the utility of the project, the community, and the team behind the project. These three key things will work very well.
Now let's talk about Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin seems to be getting all the attention in recent times. In fact, the latest figure shows that it has surpassed $45,000, you know, in the last nearly 2 years. What are the peculiarities about Bitcoin, and what do you think is gaining more attention in recent times?
Okay, with regards to Bitcoin, like I said, I mentioned a particular bank in the US who have been buying over $4 million worth of Bitcoin every single day. So we all know that Bitcoin is the first, was the first cryptocurrency that was established, that was created, is the first cryptocurrency. So of course, it's going to get that kind of attention. And Bitcoin is seen as a store of value, a store of value. In fact, it's often referred to as digital gold. So what people will do with gold, people will most likely do with Bitcoin, right? So that is why there is a growing interest in Bitcoin. And as these big players, these big industry players begin to come into the project, there will be a spike in the value. And also smaller players also come into because of what they call FOMO, fear of missing out. And Bitcoin, also another reason for the growth in the price of Bitcoin is the Bitcoin halving that is coming up. Bitcoin halving. Now, the Bitcoin halving is scheduled for, I think, April 2024. Now, the Bitcoin halving is a phenomenon that halves the reward of Bitcoin given to miners. So it invariably reduces the quantity of Bitcoin in supply. Now, and when the quantity is reduced, that is in supply, demand goes up and price goes up also. So, because people know this, people who are aware of the technology know these things, that it happens every 4 years. This time, people begin to invest. Even before the halving itself, people are already buying into Bitcoin, trying to hold it. And experts speculate that Bitcoin could get to as high as even $100,000, because the last all-time high of Bitcoin in 2021 was $61,000. Right now, like you said, is at $45,000. So it hasn't even hit its all-time high, which was in 2021. So because of this phenomenon, right, we might see a spike, a growth in the price of Bitcoin. I think we're just starting.
All right, at this time of the year when people are looking for where to put their money and the knowledge of digital assets is becoming very familiar, are there certain kinds of Ponzi schemes, or how can you differentiate a Ponzi imitating crypto? What are the things to look out for when an investment opportunity is presented to you in the guise of crypto? Are there things to differentiate Ponzi from crypto?
Okay, yes, there are things you can look out for that differentiates crypto from viable investment from Ponzi. But one thing I like to say ahead of time is that even the best of us at times get burnt, right? It's not always a win-win situation. But of course, you can get smarter in the space and know when a project is purely scam. Okay, it's a Ponzi or whatever you might. It's a scam project. Now, one of it is that if something is too good to be true, it's most likely it's not true. If something is too good to be true, it's most likely it's not true. So if the returns that it promises is beyond logical reason, right? There's no economically justifiable reason why that particular project should do the numbers that they are telling you. It's possible that that investment is scam. Okay, it's possible. It's not. It doesn't rule out the possibility of it being good, but it's possible that it's a scam. So you should beware. Okay, that's one of it. Now, secondly, is people should be wary of projects that are just based on hypes. They're just based on hype. They don't solve any real life problem. right? Just based on highs. People are just hyping the project. But when you look at their roadmap, when you look at their what they call their white paper, right? They don't solve any real life problem. The project doesn't have any problem itself. The whole thing is just purely based on speculation, hype, and the rest. That could also trigger trigger something that this might not be a profitable investment. This might be scam. And also, people should also look out for, all these free things. This period, right, we're going to have a lot of free things. Claim $500 here, claim this here, perform this activity and claim that, right? People should be wary of those type of airdrops, right? Because they can use that to take your hard-earned money from your crypto wallet. So all these free things here and there, like they often say, there is no free lunch even in Freetown. So these are some of the things people should look out for when to know if a project is scam. And also, you need to go and check what their social media, what people are saying about the project. Like I said earlier, what are people saying about the project? The people who are in the project now, what are they saying about the project, and what are they saying about the developers? If you just look a little bit deeper, I think you'll be able to tell if a project is scam or not. Look at what people are saying about the project. Check credible sources. Check on Twitter. Check their Telegram, and see if what others are saying about that project. This can also make you trigger some caution when dealing with such projects.
All right, as we speak now, at the moment in Nigeria, cryptocurrencies are not recognized as legal tender. In fact, in the year 2021, the CBN had to ban commercial banks from engaging in cryptocurrencies and some activities related to it. How do you see this playing out now that the CBN seems to be looking in that direction? An attempt to even regulate, will it be possible now that it's a digital market, a global market, is not limited to Nigeria? How do you see this playing out in this year, 2024?
Okay, well, cryptocurrency is not legal tender yet in Nigeria, right? And I don't see it being. Also, there are very few. I think I just know of one country that is El Salvador now, that Bitcoin is seen as a legal tender, but it's in Nigeria no. So what we just saw, what the federal government has done is to lift the ban, like you said, on commercial banks from trading crypto for virtual asset service providers. But there is still a ban on commercial banks trading it from their own account. So what we are going to see is the regulation, right? This is a step in the right direction. It's a very, very good step that I think is in the right direction, because we see even big countries, right, are coming into cryptocurrency. The American government is one of the top holders of Bitcoin, right? And I'm seeing that Nigeria too will begin to take center stage, the Nigerian government, with regards to what happens in the cryptocurrency space, right? Even though, yes, it's decentralized, but I think with the regulation, they can curb what financial crimes and possibly the fear of terrorism financing that is with cryptocurrency, right? So I think it's a step in the right direction.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew, for talking with us this morning about digital asset investments. This is the year 2024, so some that didn't spend all the money on chicken, turkey, and all the lounging that they did for Christmas and New Year, thinking where can they put it and get good returns. And we thank you for this information that you shared with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me here, and Happy New Year once again.
Thank you. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we return, it's time for us to talk about the Nigerian economy holistically.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown.
Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souq News.
If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News who had the courage to transcend a locked off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
My name is Olatunji Shoti Miri. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Black, Africa's finest music comedian, and you're watching Souq News. If you're not watching Souq News, I pity you, but keep watching Souq News.
Hello everyone, my name is Timida Kolo, and you're watching Souq News. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Wisdom Oluwaseun Okoko, co-founder Orbit Africa Properties. I'm live at Souq News. Guys, keep watching Souq News. For everything that concerns business, economy, politics, news, Souq News is your station.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
The National Theatre, Igomu, built during the military regime of Olusegun Obasanjo and finished in the time for the Second World Festival of Black Arts and Culture, Souq, in 1977. The theatre holds amazing treasures and memories. The artworks fill everyone with pride. The National Arts Theatre is visible from the motorway which connects Lagos Island and the mainland. The National Theatre is packed with the artworks of a legendary contemporary Nigerian artist, stained glass walls by Yusuf Grillo, sculptures and murals by Lamidi Fakeye, Erabo Emopai, and many others. It was put to full use for a month as one of the 4 venues of the Second World Black and African Festival of Arts and Culture, tagged Souq 77. The complex hosted 16,000 participants from 56 African countries and the diaspora in an unprecedented showcase of African music, fine art, literature, drama, dance, and religion. The National Art Theatre was built and designed by Techno Expert Stroll, a Bulgarian company mirroring the Palace of Culture and Sports in Varna, Bulgaria. Completed in 1976, the building is one of the largest and most beautiful of its kind on the African continent. It consists of a central hall with 5,000 seats, a collapsible stage that can be quickly rebuilt, a conference hall with 1,600 seats, 2 large exhibition halls, and 2 cinemas with 800 seats each. The theater complex has a dressing room for artists, a garage, offices, coffee bars, and a buffet. It has indoor TV and radio systems, as well as booths with facilities for simultaneous translation of languages and hectares of lush green lawn around. The majestic structure sits in Igomu like a quiet mountain, mesmerizing visitors and passers-by. The National Theatre, Souq Enlightenment. Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aiche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
Government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil.
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, it's abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
It's great to know you're still with us on Early Exchange this morning, and like I said, it's to look at the projections that have been made for the Nigerian economy in the year 2024. Now, it's been projected that Nigeria's GDP will grow by 3.3% in the year 2024, and we know that in 2023 inflation was at an all-time high in Nigeria, ending at 28.7% in the year. That's a record high. But in 2024, there are projections around that. What that is, I will not tell you yet until after I introduce my guests to you. Now, joining us to look at the economic projections for Nigeria in the year 2024 is an economic analyst and, of course, a statistician, Destiny Owubo. He joins us virtually. Good morning, Destiny. Please unmute your mic so we can have the conversation. Okay.
All right, good morning.
Good to see the latest version of you in 2024.
Happy New Year.
I wish you saying, I didn't get rice and chicken, but I forgive you.
Okay, there's always an opportunity.
All right. We're looking at the economic outlook for Nigeria in 2024. And like I said, there have been projections made for the Nigerian economy in this year. One of them is the GDP growth. It is expected or projected that Nigeria's economy will grow by 3.3% in this year. What's your take on that? Does it look feasible?
Actually, we cannot discuss the question of growth without looking at the trend. Generally, if you compare it to last year, it is expected that the growth will slow down a little because the government is trying to fight inflation. There's a global trend to slow down economies worldwide because of the heated economies, the Ukraine fight, the Israel-Gaza war, the aftermath of COVID-19. And so there's a general slowdown in prediction. The World Economic Outlook says that the world is going to slow down by an average of about 1% growth point. So Nigeria growing for 2024 is not big news, especially when we consider the fact that it's expected that it is going to slow down compared to last year. So Nigeria will begin to recover around 2025, 2026. The international growth plan for the world is slowing down, and then the fastest growing economies in the world happen to be African economies at the moment. emerging economies and developing economies like Nigeria. So while the developed world will grow at just about maybe 1 or 2%, Africa is still maintaining between 4 to 3% growth. So Nigeria happens to be in that trend of those countries that is predicted to grow slowly in 2024.
Talking about the Nigerian economy, I would like you to talk to us about some of the trends, some of the policies that might likely shape the economy in the year 2024. You have the CBN coming out with some of its initiatives talking about recapitalization, and then the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy also talking about the year 2024. In your view, what are some of the trends and policies that will shape the economy in the year 2024?
I think for Nigeria, what we are trying to do, what our major achievement for 2024 will be in the area of business confidence. The banking consolidation program is going to simply improve the confidence in the financial sector because bigger banks are expected to be more stable. The federal government, the budget of 28.7 trillion also communicates to the world that the government wants to the government is intending to spend heavily on the economy, and that means business confidence will be improved by that expenditure framework. And then we also expect that if government is using its monetary policy to tighten the economy to slow down inflation, when inflation is down, business confidence increases. And so this policy mixes is expected to create a general positive outlook for the economy for 2024. Okay, and then the government started very well too by signing the budget into law. For some time, between 2016 and 2018, we had a problem with our budgetary cycle. But between 2021 and 2022, we tried to get the January-December timeline. And then this is the first budget he's signing into law. And then it is a good precedent that the president signed it into law as the year is starting. So we have returned back to our January-December budget cycle, which is good. It makes the business world trust the government and see that the government is interested in ensuring that its budget is well financed and operated according to the Fiscal Responsibility Act and according to the laws. So if government is the monetary sector is consolidating, the fiscal sector is trying to operate by rules, the general investment climate gets a positive news, and it communicates that this year may be a good year for business. But the implementation will determine how much of that confidence is misplaced or actually in order.
Okay, looking at the budget, are there areas of concern for you? Are there sectors where you feel not much of activity or not much of change will happen in the year 2024?
Actually, the budget, there's nothing very novel about the budget, except that it is good news anytime we have a budget that has more capital expenditure than recurrent expenditure. It communicates that the government is interested in spending in the critical areas of the economy. The budget focus mainly is on security and on capital expenditure in terms of road construction, power, and other areas. So that's a good plus. The 35% of that budget goes to capital expenditure, 30% goes to recurrent expenditure, which has always been the burden of our budgets. And then 1/3 of that budget goes to debt servicing, which is looking at the debt financing. So before now, about 2 years ago, it was about 50-50. The half of our budget went into debt payment, but this time around, it is 1/3 of the budget. So we are reducing the size of our debt payments, increasing our capital expenditure, and balancing our recurrent expenditure. It is also instructive to note too that the budget doubles the amount of statutory transfers to the judiciary. What that does is that it puts more confidence on the business sector, because most of the business problems we have are litigation problems, which ultimately fall into the judiciary. So if the judiciary is going to be independent, ability to take decisions and make judgments that are not based on interference from the other arms of government, we expect that the judiciary should have financial independence. And this government has doubled that amount by over 100%, from about 161 billion to about 340 billion to the judiciary. This has a positive outlook for the judicial independence and the ability of the courts to make independent judgments and even facilitate business litigations. So these are the positive little innovations in the budget that may seem to make the budget pro-business, pro-output, and then pro-employment. And we also noticed too that the budget tries to look at the federal government inviting foreigners to invest in this country. The economic fundamentals at the moment does not support business because, as we hear, about 7 or 8 major international brands are leaving Nigeria before March. Now, when government prepares a budget and is talking about budget transparency, talking about business confidence, talking about the ease of doing business, we may expect what that may do is that it may slow the capital flight out of Nigeria in the interim. It may also give those businesses that are planning to leave in the next 1 or 2 years to reevaluate their statistics and their figures and see whether they can stay. Because what we currently have is a migration of capital out of this country because of the gloomy outlook of the economy. But this budget is looking at trying to see if they can restore some basic confidence on the economy and store the outflow of capital funds out of this country and maybe allow more inflows. Personally, I am not very optimistic about what is going to happen in the next 2-3 years in this country because of the fact that the economy is still struggling. Inflation is still very high. Unemployment is still very high. Power sector, there's no much investment in that sector. In respect to power generation, we expect that we should be able to generate at least 20,000 megawatts by this time, but we are still struggling between 6,000 to 10,000 megawatts. So there's no, like I told you, there's no major innovation in the budget per se, except just minor palliative improvements in the budget, which may not be big enough to redirect the investment flow into this country. So let's see how it goes. I also strongly do not think we should throw away the federal government's positive outlook. We must also look at the fact that Nigeria is owing a lot, at least 70 to 80 trillion. And at the moment, Nigeria is not in a good revenue position. Although just recently it was announced that the non-oil revenue has been growing at least about 60 to 70% year on year. So we expect that in the next 2-3 years, our non-oil revenue will grow more, maybe to 200 to 300%. That is when we begin to have positives from the budget. At the moment, we're just trying to weather the storm and try to see whether we can balance things in the interim to forestall the failure of macroeconomic fundamentals of this country. So the budget is just simply a maintenance budget. It is not innovative. It's not going to create major swings in the economy. It's just going to ensure that there's some balance and there's some organization within the fiscal expenditure framework.
All right, let's look at the inflation rate. You know, one of the indices that will influence how the economy will turn out in 2024 is the inflation rate in Nigeria. According to the last figure released by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, the inflation rate is at 28.2%. Now in the year 2024, what should be the priorities of this government in order to be able to manage the high cost of living and then the high rate of inflation in the Nigerian economy?
Yes, inflation affects the real incomes of individuals. And that means if you earn 100,000 at the current inflation rate, your 100,000 is only worth about 40,000 of last year. What that does is that it's going to affect people's real incomes, and real incomes will translate into slowdown in aggregate demand for goods and services. A slowdown in aggregate demand for goods and services will lead to slowdown in business investment, and that is a vicious cycle. So inflation is not good. So what the government can do, like I said, is to tighten the economy from the financial angle, tighten the economy by reducing money supply, squeezing the economy such that we reduce the monetary aspects of that inflation, and then grow output. The government intends to spend to produce a lot of to fund a lot of agricultural programs. It is intended to boost the real sector, because from the supply side, what the government can do is to boost productivity from the real sector, ensure a lot of investments in agriculture to ensure that we have sufficient food, because food inflation is a very large component of total inflation. So if we're able to boost the supply of the goods from the real sector, such that we're able to allow that supply match up with the falling demand and get a certain basic equilibrium, then we expect that people will be able to at least buy goods at a cheaper price, given that their real incomes are falling. But then I have a problem. The government intends to also increase minimum wage. This is a counter policy. When you increase minimum wage in this period, are you not also going to increase the money supply? And if you increase minimum wage and you increase the money supply, is that not more problems for the CBN too? Now that their policy is to tighten the economy and to squeeze the economy such that the exchange rate is stable, the inflation rate is stable. So we need a measure of policy mix here, okay? And there are going to be some trade-offs. Which one would the government be trying to achieve in the short term? Is it growth in output, or is it growth in employment, or is it in between those two? If you increase output, then what that means is that people will be able to get goods at competitive prices, okay? But if you reduce the money supply, then people will not have enough money to buy out that increased output. So what that means is that the government is in a fix. So we need a combination of policies that are complementary. So we should not have a situation where we have contradictory policies. Why the central bank is trying to stabilize the naira value internationally, because if the exchange rate, for instance, is very high, most of our factories depend on imported inputs. So what happens is that we are going to have a cost push element to that inflation, because we import over 65% of the inputs we use in production comes from the external economy. So if the exchange rate is still very high, then we are going to import this inflation to this country in the form of rising exchange rates. Now, that's a problem that the CBN has to tackle. Slow down the exchange rate differences, reduce the exchange rate, and then tighten the monetary system to ensure that prices and exchange rates are low. But from the real sector, the government should be trying to expand output, productivity, not income. Because what should generate more money for Nigerians is not just the fact that you increase their wages. The wages increase must be matched by productivity. So how much of output is the government investing in this period? What is happening to agricultural output? What is happening to power output? What is happening to the general output of the real sector, tourism, manufacturing, basic production, and other factors, sectors of the economy? That real sector must be generating output, not just income in forms of nominal incomes. We'll be generating real incomes that match the value of the currency that you are increasing in people's hands. So it's a difficult situation, it's a difficult call, but I think the Ministry of Finance and the central bank should be having joint sessions and see how their policies are complemented by each other instead of being contradicting each other in the process. So it's a work that requires a complete synergy between these two institutions to ensure that they are on the same page.
All right, let's look at how businesses will fare in this year. Now, a report released says that Nigeria's Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, increased to 52.7%, but the business outlook for 2024 stands at a decade low. What could be the reason for that? And how can businesses breathe in this year?
Yes, I think the effect on businesses will depend on the type of business we are talking about. We have to differentiate between businesses that render services and businesses that produces need to haves. So if the need to have businesses, when I say need to have, I mean things that people cannot do without, things like food, transportation, things like basic food, transportation, clothing, and others. They are needs to have. Such businesses will still thrive, given the fact that people cannot do without them. And so, irrespective of the level of income, such businesses will not be heavily impacted by rising prices and by sluggish demand. But services, which we call nice to haves, the nice to haves are services that are not that people can do without. And in this category, we have services like education, services like tourism, services like hotels, and services like even health. Our people may prefer traditional health methods to the orthodox methods, because as we speak now, the price of drugs, for instance, have doubled or quadrupled in some cases. So the business generally, the services and goods and services areas that has to do with needs or needs to have will not suffer seriously. But services that have to do with nice to have wants, I mean, things that people can actually do without, because people are going to squeeze their budget from luxuries and squeeze them into essentials. And so in the aggregate, it will cancel out. We do expect that the major singular determinant of whether the economy will do well in 2014 is what happens to general prices. If the general prices remain considerably very high, then the total macroeconomic effect on the economy is a slowdown in output. But if government is able to tame the prices, we expect that businesses will rise gently and can generate that 3.9 to 4.0 growth in GDP, which the federal government has estimated. And it's also supported by the World Economic Outlook forecast. The World Economic Outlook forecast says that Nigeria will grow at about 3.9%. The federal government is working between 3.5 to 4.2%. So there's some consistency in the projections. Overall, the determinant of the success of the federal government policies will be based on how it's able to manage the hydra-headed effect of prices on the economy, because that is the pain point. If we're able to deal with the prices of goods and services, which is currently at at one of the highest in Nigeria's history because of the subsidy removal and because of the many policies of government is trying to liberalize the oil sector, trying to liberalize the foreign exchange sector to try to minimize the differences between the exchange rate in the parallel market and that in the official market. That is why you can see the dollar price is seriously hitting against the naira. So what the government is trying to do is to liberalize that sector to ensure that there's no round tripping within the financial sector. So what the government tries to do in a bid to make Nigeria run according to market rules may be counterproductive, given the fact that we do not have commensurate output to match the market dynamics. So we cannot be liberalizing the financial sector in the economy and then output is sluggish. If output is sluggish, what that means is that prices will just be rising towards the rooftop. Nigerians have low income and currently cannot sustain that prices. And so there will be what we call a bubble, that kind of bubble that will cripple large sections of the population, which is already being impoverished. So whatever government does now is hinged on what it's able to do in the financial sector, exchange rate, and inflation rate.
All right, what's your take on the government's push for a credit economy in this year through the financial system? How will it help? Is it going to have a negative impact as we'll talk about reducing inflation?
Now, if we are trying to do a credit economy, then we must also consider something. How much are Nigerians going to pay in interest for that credit? Okay, when an economy is suffering and sluggishing like Nigeria, the credit costs go very high. It's not about making credits available. At what cost? That's the question. With rising inflation, the banks and financial institutions want to ensure that because it actually pays to borrow in a situation that Nigeria finds itself now with rising prices. It pays to borrow, but when you pay back, when you try to pay back, the value you are paying back will be less than the value you borrowed. So financial systems will factor these variables into their loan programs and ensure that they charge higher interest rates to be able to bridge the gap between the real value of money and the nominal value of money. Because the debtors, when they borrow these funds, they will be borrowing at a higher rate and of benefit. But when they are paying, given the inflation rate rising, they are going to be paying less. So creating more credits for the economy will help to boost the real sector. But at what cost? At what cost? That's the question. At what cost to the businesses? Is the federal government able to guarantee lower interest loans? So it's not about the credit itself, it's about guaranteeing low interest loans. That can only be done if the federal government guarantees all loans to small businesses. So there should be a fund, at least in trillions, but I don't see that in the budget. So I don't understand the mechanics of that. If you want to increase credit to the private sector, then I should expect that at least 1 trillion naira should have been budgeted to guarantee debts, credit to the vulnerable sectors of the economy, agriculture and other sectors. But it appears the federal government is not operating that system. They are allowing the market itself to determine the prices of credit. Where is the real sector equivalent of guaranteeing that credit such that people can get these loans at a lower rate? That's the question. I don't see that in the budget. I don't see how government intends to expand credit without dealing with the cost of credit.
All right, we need to go on a short break now. When we return, we'll discuss more on the outlook for the year 2024. Stay with us.
My name is Dr. Ajili Tobi. My name is Etemari Glover. Naomi, well done, and shout out to Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. I want to encourage everyone to keep watching Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News, and yes, tune into them.
Keep watching Souq News. They are one in town.
Hey, we're watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. Catch them on YouTube and all social media channels.
Hey, my name is Frank Edowo, and I'm imploring you. No, forget that. I am forcing you, coercing you to always stay tuned to Souq News for your news requirements.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Eche, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruoje, and Idahosa Osamaze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
If government says that subsidy is not in oil and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil,
energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
All right, if you're just joining us, you have no cause to worry. We're still looking at the economic outlook for the year 2024, and our guest is still here with us. We still have Destiny here with us. He joins us virtually. All right, Helen, while we wait for our guest, don't forget this is your program. Like I always say, let your voice be heard. This implies that you can be part of the conversation. For you, what is going to be the year 24, what is going to look like, talking about the economy and some of the financial opportunities in the year 2024. As an expert or as a Nigerian, you can share your view with us. All you just have to do is to go on our social media platforms, on our YouTube page, to share your view on the economic outlook for the year 2024. Blessing, you know, when we had Destiny, he talked about some of the factors that are going to shape the economy, you know, in the year 2024. He talked about, you know, the financial policies on the part of the CBN, where he talked about the issue of recapitalization. You know, earlier in the year or last year, when the CBN governor had to address the business communities at the CIBN event, he gave a clue that in the coming year, which is the year 2024, there's a need for banks to recapitalize. You know, if there's a need to achieve the $1 trillion economy that's been set as a benchmark for the Nigerian economy. So we'll see how that is going to turn out this year, you know, because the way it seems is going to be a reality, or might likely be a reality, even though the CBN has not officially made an official statement related to that. But several experts have spoken, just like what Destiny said earlier, that for the banks to be able to play effectively and as expected, there's a need for recapitalization. Don't forget the last time this was done was about 20-something years ago, which the present capital base is about 25 billion. And if you look at the exchange rate, you know, the high inflation rate, the value of 25 billion now compared to, it's
way less.
And that's why there's a need to recapitalize. Of course, the argument is there that, okay, no bank could go, you know, insolvent, you know, with the present arrangement, you know, with the capital base and all that. But it's also important to understand that the financial sector, the banking sector is very critical. You know, the banking sector is just very sensitive. And when the banking sector sneezes, every other sector catches cold, if I may put it that way.
Because your money is there.
Yeah, exactly.
You should catch cold.
So it's the benchmark, provide the service, the kind of framework for the economy to thrive. And that's why the CBN government is talking about strengthening the banking sector for them to be able to play globally and then be able to live up to the expectations, you know, in the year 2024.
Yes, that's going to happen. But the thing is, I think the CBN should do a proper categorization so every bank knows where they fall into, if you're a tier 1 bank or you're a tier 2 bank. And so that will determine the recapitalization that will be done along those lines. And so where a bank cannot meet up because of the recapitalization, and as you mentioned, inflation and some maybe pullouts because some persons are reinvesting elsewhere or losing confidence in the banking sector, which I hope that the CBN is able to repair because of the current happenings around the financial sector. But I hope that we could see measures that are done rightly, not small banks acquiring banks that are even more, having more capital assets than they. But I think the CBN this time around will look critically at how mergers and acquisitions are done. So if that happens, it doesn't matter if we see maybe the same banks all over, but it just matters that the bank is solid. That's what should matter at the end of the day.
All right, I learned Destiny is back here with us. Let's take the discussion back to him. Destiny, glad to know you're there with us. I hope you can hear me. Maybe you have to unmute your device so that we can have a proper conversation. Destiny, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, great. You know you're still there with us.
Thank you very much.
So now let's look at the issue of, let's focus on the oil and gas sector. You know, that sector is very critical to the economy. The projection for the year 2024 is with the commencement of operation by Dangote Refinery, and then the fact that you have Port Harcourt Refinery to be back in operation. Now, the projection is that is going to reduce imports and also increase trade surplus. How do you see this playing out, especially now that you have framework for local production of oil? How do you see this playing out in the year 2024, the oil and gas sector?
Yeah, the biggest advantage from that realization is the fact that we are going to save a lot of foreign exchange. That's the only major impact. A lot of people, in the next 3 to 4 years, Nigeria is going to save over $30 billion of foreign exchange, given the fact that we are not patronizing a local manufacturer. So that's good for our foreign exchange management. We will not need dollars to import petroleum products. We sign contracts with Dangote Refinery and those local producers, and then because dollar is exchanging hands in that transaction, we expect that the federal government and Nigeria is able to save a lot in foreign exchange. But beyond that, a lot of people have imagined that it may affect the prices of petroleum products. There's no reason to believe it will affect the price of petroleum products, because the prices of petroleum products are determined internationally, and Dangote is a businessman. We expect that they will try to make profit, and they are going to charge a price that is consistent with the world price. And it may not, the immediate benefit to Nigeria will only be in the foreign exchange angle, but not in the price angle. Before we begin to see impact on prices of petroleum products, we are going to also, it will take about 3 to 4 to 5 years where other manufacturers, other producers come on stream and compete at the market level. Also, that sector is also going to be expanded in 2024, because the output of those refineries will be reflected in the gross domestic product. So we expect our GDP to increase and expand significantly, given that a major player is coming on stream to produce output. So our domestic economy will expand to the extent of the expansion of those refineries. So we expect more jobs to be created directly or indirectly. At the moment, about 16,000 people are already employed in that refinery, in direct and indirect jobs. We expect a multiplier effect to generate more income for the economy. That's what we expect to see. It's going to be positive. It will be a positive addition to the Nigerian economy. We do not yet know how it's going to impact on prices, definitely, except that from our collected wisdom, we do believe that the prices will not significantly be impacted, but the exchange rate will significantly feel the benefit of having a local producer producing domestic petrol, and even possibly exporting to other African countries. So it's a plus for the Nigerian economy.
All right, let's take a look at the global economic outlook for 2024. Most forecasts predict a global GDP growth of between 2.6% to 3%, which is significantly lower than 2023. Earlier, you talked about a global economic slowdown. What are those factors that are contributing or will contribute to the slowdown globally?
Basically, the contributing factors to that slowdown is tightening monetary policies across the world. Okay, the price of crude is being impacted by the war in Ukraine and in Gaza at the moment, and inflation, post-COVID inflation, is still ravaging the world. And so what the governments have been doing all over the world is trying to slow down prices at the inflation rate and tightening their monetary policies. So the effect of all this cumulative aggregative tightening of monetary policies around the world is what is dragging the growth forecast. Okay, and we begin to see those effects in 2014. And so the world is not very optimistic about increasing output because they are tightening the monetary policies. And you know that money is very critical in determining the level of GDP. So if the government is tightening the amount of money in circulation or reducing it, it will force a drag on the real sector, and global output will fall until the economy, the world gets to a point where it is comfortable to do what we call quantitative easing, allowing the money supply to increase again gently and go back to pre-COVID times when everything was sweet and good for most of the world.
Let me put this to you. What might likely be the impact of global crisis or events? We're talking about global crisis, talking about the war between Ukraine and Russia, and also looking at the war happening in Israel. What will be the likely impact of this global crisis and other global events on the Nigerian economy, and what should Nigeria as a country do to mitigate the effects of this crisis?
The immediate effect is on prices of crude oil. If the war is escalated, then we expect crude oil prices to go up. But if the war is contained, we expect crude oil prices to go down a little. So when the crude oil sector sneezes, Nigeria catches cold. The economic fortunes of Nigeria is widely determined by the swings in the crude oil market. And so Nigeria is highly responsive to what happens in that market. And so that's the direct impact. It's the direct effect between what is happening globally in the war and what is going to happen to the Nigerian economy. We remember that this current budget is predicated on $77 per barrel, which is the average price of last year. So we expect that if this war escalates, we expect the prices to go up. And if it goes up, it will be in our favor. But if the war is contained, because there are a lot of talks globally about it, then we also expect the prices to go down. There are also other factors too that affect the price of crude. Apart from just the war, there are also issues of environmentalism. The Paris Agreement, the COP28 agreements, these agreements are trying to find a way to seek alternatives to fossil fuel. And so the world is trying to get away from fossil fuels and go into green energy. If these talks are built upon and they become positive, it therefore means that most countries, the superpowers like China and others, are already saying that by 2030, they are going to migrate to green. The United States is not ready yet, but China is a major superpower with about $16 trillion economy. We expect that when China is going to support a particular system, other countries in Asia, Southeast Asia, will support. In the interim, the next 3 to 4, 5 years, if such talks are positively driven, we expect that fossil fuels will no longer be as relevant as they were in the last 10 years. So, but these are long-term, medium to long-term effects. But in the immediate, in this year that we just entered, I do not see any major swing to the oil sector because the fight between Ukraine and Russia has been contained. It has not escalated beyond what people estimated. And then the Israel-Gaza war, there are a lot of talks to bring some sanity and order in that area. So not much will be impacted on the Nigerian economy.
Challenges, particularly regarding the attacks around the Suez Canal, and some ships have been attacked in recent times. So how would that impact supply chains, and for countries in Africa particularly that are import dependent?
Yeah, if there's a threat to the supply chains in Africa, it will ultimately impact prices of goods and services, which are already not very good for African countries at the moment. Because although our major exports are basically primary products, we are importers of manufactured products. So if there's a threat to the shipping routes and the shipping lines, then it's going to impact the prices of these commodities by the time they get to Africa for the few ones that manage to get here. So there should be collaborative efforts to ensure that the international waters are well policed. And it also affects the global community. Although most of the problems of the international economies impact heavily on Africa because Africa is not a major producer. The total GDP of the world is about $93 trillion. Africa does not contribute up to 70%, up to 7% of that GDP. And so whatever happens in international waters, Africans do not have an economy to absorb the shocks of anything that happens in the global economy. It is directly transferred to Africa because we don't have shock absorbers to mitigate against these effects of problems in the international market. So what we can do is to fortify our economies and insulate our economies from the Western world by growing the capacity of Africans to trade between themselves. And that is what the AFCTA agreement is all about, trying to ensure that 54 countries in Africa trade within themselves. Because currently, the total trade between African societies is just about 10%. We expect that to increase if Africans have collaborative agreements where they can increase it to at least 20-30% in the next 4 or 5 years. If they're able to trade more with themselves, then they can insulate themselves from global shocks. Also, Africa should also find a way to grow its domestic output in terms of manufacturing and construction. These are the things that take most of the money away from Africa and connect Africa to the world in a very dangerous way. So we must find a way to localize production and reduce the effect of migration problems, transport problems on the supply chains. That's what we can do. We are simply in the beggar's angle at the moment. We need to get to a strong position where Africa can become a leading player in determining its own fate. Currently, the fate of Africa is in the hands of the developed world, not really in the hands of Africa.
Okay, as you're aware that the Nigerian economy is largely import-driven, this implies that whatever happens to the global currency, it affects the Naira. Now, looking at the projection for the 2024 budget, you have the projection of 750 Naira, the exchange rate to $1, and then the oil price is pegged at $77. How do you see this playing out? And then what will be the impact of this on the Nigerian economy, knowing fully well that Nigeria cannot operate in isolation?
Yeah, like I said, Nigeria is highly import dependent, and we are not in a very strong position to determine what happens to the price of goods in our country. If 65% of what you produce, the inputs of what you produce come from the Western world, then it's going to be impacted by the exchange rate. And that's why I said the CBN has a major role to play. Why trying to artificially shore up the value of the Naira? Dangote coming on stream will also help to improve our foreign exchange position because the demand for foreign exchange will slow down. So that's a major blow. I think why the federal government is betting seriously on that Dangote refinery. If we are able to save $30 to $50 billion in foreign exchange in the next 2 to 3 years from simply buying from a local manufacturer, then that will help to improve the capacity of the Naira to buy things from the rest of the world. So our biggest bet is the coming on stream of these local refiners, and that because importing crude constitutes a large share of our imports. And also, the federal government should also make effort to try to shore up local production. There are local alternatives. Nigerians are becoming adept at producing cars. Federal government should find a way to make the official vehicles of the government come from the domestic manufacturers. That will also save us billions of dollars in foreign exchange. In textiles, Nigeria has a competitive advantage in textiles, so we can invest in textiles. But how do we do all this without power? I see it's like I said, it's a multidimensional problem. So at the heart of our production efforts is power. And for us to generate a sufficient power, we still need to heavily depend on imports of inputs from the Western world. So you see, the hard road to take is to expand our imports from the Western world, but in the area of capital goods, such that we increase our capacity to produce locally, and then substitute most of these inputs with local alternatives. But if we don't get power right, we'll always be at the mercy of the foreign exchange rate.
Okay, finally, as we wrap up, let's look at currency swap, the bilateral currency swap. Is it time to revisit that, considering that China accounts for 22% of imports in Nigeria?
Yes, a lot of people believe that agreeing to a currency swap with China will help reduce the dependence on the dollar. But there's an economic war between the US and China. Nigeria happens to be a major country in Africa, the giant of Africa. So the war to get Africa is settled, is resolved in who controls Nigeria. So I can see why it is in the best interest of China to negotiate that deal with Nigeria. Nigeria constitutes 20% of the entire African population, and the GDP of Nigeria is over 35% of the Africa GDP. So it's a big plus if China is able to get that currency swap agreement with Nigeria. From the Nigerian perspective, however, if we connect with China and do the currency swap with China, it therefore means that those goods that we buy from China, which is about 20% of our total imports, will now be denominated in the Chinese yuan. And that will also reduce the pressure on the US dollar. That's good for us. But there are also political issues connected to such agreements. It's not just about the economics of it, what about the politics? China has a reputation of negotiating deals with countries that are weak, that are not able to take the best positions. For instance, we can see what happens to China seizing the airports of some countries like Zambia and other countries, or Zimbabwe, and tying their monetary policies to assets, monetary relationships to assets the country have, which country China can take over. A lot of people suspect China of trying to imperialize Africa through the back door, through taking advantage of their weaknesses. Okay, so most people, especially people from this part of the world like Nigeria, we are more Western-oriented than Southeast Asian-oriented. I do not see the federal government pulling through with that deal if it is looking at it from a political dimension. But if it is what we can do to salvage our current economic malaise, then maybe we should strike a deal with China when it has to do with businesses with China. But we should not use that to send a negative signal to the West. If we pull such deals with China, the West, which constitutes more than 70% of total foreign investment in Nigeria, will try to retaliate and pull investment away from Nigeria. There's a political side of all these things. So the wisdom is to find the middle, the place where you are comfortable doing business and not hurting your economy, because you can't be penny wise and pound foolish. You have to look at the entire international diplomatic relationships between Nigeria and the rest of the world in making any financial deals with any trading partner.
All right, what a way to wrap up this conversation. Destiny or what, but we must appreciate you for your time. No doubt you're giving us a better perspective on the outlook for the year 2024. So we must thank you for your time, your commitment, and your brilliant submissions on the economic outlook for the year. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Happy New Year once again.
All right. Now it's time for sports. Sport friends, sport enthusiasts. Juby and Souq are standing by to give you the latest update when it comes to sport. And that will take place after this short break. Just stay with us.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown. Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souq News. If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it, because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News, who had the courage to transcend a locked-off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
Whenever your mind and your body are not together in any place, on anything you're doing, you can never be optimal. Why do some people excel way beyond expectation? Some just cut it, and some fall way behind. And I think it's not that some were born more intelligent than others. It's the attitude that one brings to whatever they're doing. Whatever you're doing, if you are not fully engaged in mind and body, then you are not optimally imbibing. You want to go to the movies. You start getting ready at home, but your mind is at the movies. So you get to the movie only to realize that you've forgotten your movie tickets at home. Now that you're at the movie, a movie of 2 hours, 1 hour and a half into the movie, your mind is to the next place, outside the movie. So before the movie credits starts rolling out, everybody is standing up and blocking your view and everybody is rushing out. You are in a training and you have your phone beside you. As it's beeping, you are checking it and you believe that you are listening and imbibing. You are not fooling anybody, you are fooling yourself. Because you are imbibing nothing. You cannot serve two masters. Sometimes the usage of time is also important. When we wake up in the morning, what do? Significant people wake up in their most productive mind. They solve a problem, they take in creative items, or they write something inspirational. Now, when you wake up and you are at the beck and call of reaction, you read a mail, you react to it. You see a WhatsApp message, you react to it. You react to social media posts. You are not making the optimum use of your most creative energies at the most creative time of the day. When you wake up in the morning, I would say, do something inspirational, imbibe something inspirational, write something inspirational, solve a big problem in your mind. Nothing is going to fall down if you don't check your emails and your WhatsApp until 10 o'clock. Put the phone away, not inside, and check it again at 12 o'clock. Put it away, not inside, check it again at 2 o'clock, and check it again at 4 o'clock. There was a time when I was growing up when all we had were landlines. And it's only when you are at the phone and it rings that you pick it up, and nobody died. Be more assertive with your time. Make the most of what you're doing. Wherever you're doing, whatever you're doing, be there fully in mind and body, and see how significant you will be.
I'm okay.
My name is Raymond Bola Brown. Hi, my name is Fred Amata, and you are on to Souq News. If you are watching this channel for the first time, make sure you continue to watch it, because this is Souq News.
Shout out to Souq News. Actually, I don't know. I really enjoyed the little moment I spent with you, and I think with more of this.
Souq News. Here's the Souq News, who had the courage to transcend a locked off camera and actually have a conversation with a human being. It's a pleasure, Souq News. Thank you very much.
Morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Aite, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruwoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
Government says that subsidy is not in oil, and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil.
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, it's abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development. Hello there, glad to have you join us for another scintillating moment on the Sports View right here on Early Exchange. You know how it is. We're back at the yard, sports yard, everything there is you need to know happening from Ethiopia down to India. I am Juvie Ufiene, and it gives me such an enormous pleasure to let you know that Charlie, what's up, man?
Yeah, it gives me such an incalculable pleasure, just like Juvie would say, to be here, to be in your presence, and to get this skin.
All right, man. You know how it is. Charlie is trying to be me. But I guess it's more of the excitement right now, news from everywhere. So AFCON is around the corner. We are tired of EPL. We want to talk about our own, what's been going down, who is making what, and how much will the eventual winner, Super Eagles, will be coming to the country?
Did you say Super Eagles?
Yes, eventual winner.
Okay. You're prophesying. I like that. Well,
yeah, the prophetic in me is happening right now. So we do hope the Eagles come out well, just like every other team. But so to start up today, how much do you, in your estimation, how much do you think Cote d'Ivoire has put into organizing things?
Well, the official amount is over $1 billion. Over $1 billion in road constructions, over $1 billion in infrastructures, hospitals, eateries, hotels, recreational centers, and the stadiums where these matches will take place.
Yeah, we've got like six stadiums, 5 cities,
yes,
and
5 cities.
Tickets are already sold out in some matches.
It's incredible to show you how much business is in football. I mean, football alone, we're not talking about other sports. How much business is present in football? How much money is there to be made in football? And how much investment it requires for you to, get money from football? Because you have to once again think about the welfare of those players. You have to think about the welfare of those that will travel all the way from their country to support these players, support their team.
Yeah.
So, and you also have to think about, the road networks. If the road and infrastructures are not working, you will not have a smooth sailing, so to speak.
Yeah, even tourism would. I mean,
people from it doesn't just limit to just African. Those coming from African states. Even those coming from Europe too would like to come and watch their players. Scouts will come and look for young talents for their club. So yeah, it takes more than just a few dollars. It takes over $1 billion.
It's a whole lot. According to Idris Diallo, president of the Ivorian Football Federation, he said the estimation was over $1 billion. Over $1 billion. Cote d'Ivoire. Do you see Nigeria organizing something like this?
Well, I think we should put, if it will bring about development, if it will bring about infrastructural change, look at our team. We are asking them to come to camp, and we are taking our camp all the way to Abu Dhabi, whereas Ghana is camping in Kumasi.
Ghana had to leave Joburg and come back home.
Yeah, because you are going to play in Africa, not Abu Dhabi. The infrastructure there is different. The grass there is different. The climate there is different.
Your players, I hate to say this, but your players are not Nigerians.
It doesn't matter. They should come and see what we are going to
put them in a place where their system would. They are living Europe, and so they will have to stay somewhere close. But when they start in the heat of the moment, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, and when the heat comes, I hope your players will not be breaking down.
That's what I'm saying. They should come and test the weather. They should come and know what they are going to encounter when AFCON starts, so that when you are playing and the heat is and the sun is up there and they are complaining, they are sweating, they can't carry on. Let them come and experience these things firsthand. And why are you camping them in Abu Dhabi? I don't see the money you spend in camping them in Abu Dhabi. Use it to make these infrastructures better for them to train here. Look at the pitch at Abuja.
Imagine if they were around Lagos, Abuja, say Port Harcourt. People will pay to just come to training session.
Yeah. And our own local media will be able to cover this event and have one-on-one interaction with these players. Promote the media. Look at it from the press angle. Help our press, like Punch, all these. We too will be there to check out these guys, have one-on-one discussions, exclusives with them, and just help push our markets out there as well. It helps. Generally and overall in the long run.
NFF, we hope you guys are listening, because I don't see the sense in it taking Africans to the Middle East for a competition
that is going to
West Africa.
West Africa. Nigeria is also West
Africa. The heat right now in Nigeria tells you what to expect in Cote d'Ivoire.
And you are making an argument for them, saying they are Europe-based players.
Those guys are not Nigerians, and that's one of the problems, man. We're not Nigerians. Speaking of Nigeria, rumor has it that 2 of our own guys probably are on injury.
Yeah, you can't rule out the place of injury in football, and it's just unfortunate that.
And these are 2 key.
Yeah, 2 key players. Iheanacho and indeed is quite surprising, and they are playing for the same team, also injured at the same in the same time. Our hearts are with them actually, and we hope that their replacements will be able to step into the boots.
Are you sure do we have a replacement?
No, we definitely have to get replacement
from
them.
Where?
I don't know, but they definitely replacement
from
will come.
Because it's still rumored. It's not like
no, they're actually injured.
Is it that grief?
Yeah, there are serious injuries.
I mean, you can't take Iheanacho and Ndidi off this team.
But you can also bank on the fact that they will get match fit to play intensive games in just a short period of time.
So what does that spell to our...
That's what I'm saying. Here we are going to scrutinize his professionalism. We are going to scrutinize how
who's
good
professionalism?
The head coach, of course, Jose Peseiro. Yeah, we are going to know the extent of his professionalism in general, and let's know how competent he is to handle these boys and how well he knows the players that he's calling up.
How well he knows the players? Well, probably just like every one of us. Maybe he watches the what is it called now? The matches in Premiership and all that. Because these guys are not here. How long did they stay in camp? How long would they stay? How would they be able to gel? If these guys were local-based, some. We're not saying everybody should be in Nigeria, but if a great number of them were in Africa, somewhere in Egypt and all that, we could tell what they were expecting.
We see their progress over there in Europe. It's not like we don't see.
It doesn't translate in most times into this AFCON.
Well, you can also question their hunger and desire to play for the national team, which we see. But I don't see the difference, because experience will also play its part, because those guys have played in big leagues, played in big clubs where the demand is high. So the demand will also be equivalent when it comes to this African Cup of Nations games. So yeah, I don't see these home-based players being able to step up to that. I know a few can, but I don't. In the long run, when the heat of the competition comes, when the pressure starts to mount and the pressure starts to build, both from the coach, from the fans, from the press, and from within yourself, to perform week in and week out in top weather conditions.
Well, that is still debatable, because Julius Agawa wasn't playing exceptionally in a very big club while he was doing it in AFCON for us the last time he was here. Speaking of injury again, Ghana has got some few names. Wow. Your own friends. Partey.
Thomas Partey.
I mean,
this is the longest injury spell that he has ever encountered or in his full career. Hamstring injury, those are the worst. Just goes behind your Achilles and right. It's very, very, very tremendous. But we see that Ghana has players around Europe that can easily fit into Partey's role. But notwithstanding, we can't rule out the importance of Partey in that squad. And the others that have opted out based on of their own self-evaluation. Baba Rahman was complaining that he just coming out of injury, so he needs time to recuperate and give himself time to get into match fitness and not disappoint his country, which is considerable when you think about it. Well, if you have been called up to do something, your coach has seen what you are capable of doing, so he feels that you can do it. So why opt out?
No, it goes to show. I told you the other day we were just bantering, and I said, who pays the piper? Because he's looking at eventually, when you're done with AFCON, let's say 2 months or a month and few, where you get your real money and what really matters. If you don't go back fit, you probably won't be getting a start. And if you're not getting it, what's the future? Because AFCON is 4 years, and then you come back again and you're doing what? And so, what does this spell for African leagues? Majority of our players, especially in West Africa, are coming in from around the globe, not really plying their trade in our local leagues.
Well, I think it's the quality of football that we have in our local leagues. You can't compare the infrastructure. You can't compare the style of play, the technicalities, what's the word now? Generally the infrastructure that they have over there in Europe the facilities, yeah, that's what that they have to develop these players both mentally. You know, the knowledge they have. I mean, it's football. They invented it, so it's their sport. They know how it is run, and it evolves. And technology every day involves changes, and this technology they bring into football, and you see it in their own climate, and it's there. So they know how it is handled. We cannot compare with our own African football that we struggle to even play. Sometimes you get most cancelled matches in a game week. But regardless, we're not trying to play down our own African football. But you cannot compare the two. Europe and Africa, you can't compare. We still have catching up to do.
All right, we do have some catching up, but you know, in retrospect, Italian 90, Cameroon, Miller, they troubled and made an emphatic statement. 1990, Italian 90, Cameroon made an emphatic statement. A great deal of the players were right here in Africa and they stunned the world. 1994, Nigeria, Cameroon were there. We stunned the world again. And so I don't think the problem is because if it's infrastructure. Yes, those issues are there, but we don't seem to have people with hunger in this nation again. So people can wear the jersey and say, I'm wearing the green and white, I want to die serving this. And so that's another, it's a different conversation for a different day. We hope the guys get fit, because man, even Didi and Ian Choice of that team, I don't know what to expect. But that is where we'll draw the curtain today on Souq Sports View. We'll be back on Souq Sport much later at 1. You join the whole team, and where I'll be talking about business and all that. You know how it is. It's in the brain where the money at. Where the money at. Money is honey sunny. A rich man's joke is always funny. I am Juvie Ufiene, and from Charles.
Oh, this is goodbye. We see you at 1 p.m. where we talk sport business, and we will elaborate on these issues and give it to you as it dey hot.
As it dey hot, we dey drop them. Do have yourself a beautiful morning. Away from us and back to the early exchange team.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godi Odidi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Souq News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Souq News.
So I'm happy that Souq TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Souq News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Souq News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Souq News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Souq News.
Keep watching Souq News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching.
Good morning and welcome to Early Exchange with Blessing Ache, Femi Ayodele, Sam Oruoje, and Idahosa Osamanze.
It's a national orientation agency. It's, as far as I'm concerned, very idle and unprofessional.
Government says that subsidy is not in oil, and government is not supposed to be paying subsidy in oil.
Energy or whatever kind of off-grid solution we will be looking at.
Today we are conducting mining today. Solid minerals, as an example, is, in no disrespect to anybody, is abysmal. We definitely need improvements in those areas. Of course, there are infrastructural needs.
This is Early Exchange, shaping policy, advancing development.
Yes, thank you for staying with us, and thanks to Chooks and Juvie for running around the field of sports and updating you on the happenings in this world of sports. It's time for us to close the show. We thank you very much for being with us all the way from 7 a.m. to this time. I do hope now you have clear perspective on how it's going to be not just in the Nigerian economy but globally, and you've now known how to position yourself rightly for the opportunities and also how to make very wise digital investments. I'm Blessing AG, and that's been the show today. Do enjoy your day. Don't forget to stay with Souq News because more programs will come your way. One of them is Business Insider, comes up at 10 o'clock, and then there will be Souq Sports at noon. Stay tuned to Souq.
Yes, it's been a productive 3-hour drive, and all you just have to do is to keep doing your best. And from me to you, because your best is yet to come. Helio Exchange returns tomorrow. I am Femi Ayodele. Bye for now.